Death. It isn't a pleasant topic for many of us, much less a business model. However, the business of death has become a mega industry in the United States. According to the National Funeral Directors Association, there are more than 15,000 funeral homes in the U.S., which employ approximately 106,000 people. Funeral homes generate a total of $16 billion, while crematories and cemeteries generate more than $4 billion in revenue. In 2024, the Cremation Association of North America estimates that 61.8% of all remains are cremated in the U.S. Sadly, it is not a surprise that this industry, like all business, attracted bad actors. Of course, there is petty fraud and price gouging, which is despicable given the grieving nature of their customers, but there is also a persistent and particularly nasty form of fraud that seems to be on the rise. I am talking about cremation scams. Just a few days ago, a Colorado funeral home owner was sentenced to the maximum of 20 years in prison for cheating customers and defrauding the federal government of nearly $900,000 in COVID-19 aid. John Halford, owner of Return to Nature Funeral Home, had stashed nearly 190 dead bodies in a decrepit building while sending grieving families fake ashes. Halford used pandemic aid and the payments of customers to buy a GMC Yukon and an Infiniti worth over $120,000. He also paid for laser body sculpting, trips to California, Florida, and Las Vegas. He purchased $31,000 in cryptocurrency and luxury items at stores like Gucci and Tiffany & Company, according to court documents. The 190 corpses were discovered in 2023 in a bug-infested building owned by Return to Nature in Penrose, Colorado, a small town southwest of Colorado Springs. Halford stashed bodies as far back as 2019 in the dilapidated building, sometimes stacking them on top of each other, and in at least 2 cases burying the wrong body. According to the assistant U.S. attorney during the sentencing of Halford, FBI agents had to put boards down so they could walk about the fluid from the decaying bodies. Agents were initially unable to enter some rooms as the bodies were piled too high and in various states of decay. In March of this year, Heights Crematory was shut down after over 100 bodies were found improperly stored in sheets, bags, and a trailer. At least one lawsuit is pending against the company by a widow of one of the deceased. According to the lawsuit, the crematory failed to refrigerate her husband's remains for nearly 3 weeks before the cremation process.
I don't even know if the remains I have belong to my husband, honestly. I mean, that's a question I have. And also when I told our children about it, that was their first questions as well. Is it their father?
Last year in Douglas, Georgia, deputies made a startling discovery while serving an eviction notice on Johnson Funeral and Cremation Services. 18 bodies in varying stages of decomposition. 39-year-old Chris Lee Johnson was indicted in January for more than 62 criminal counts, including 17 counts of abuse to a dead body, 17 counts of abandonment of a dead body, 18 counts of theft by deception, 9 counts of violation of vital records, and 1 count of insurance fraud. According to the indictment, the bodies had been taken to the funeral home between January 2024 and August 2024. Johnson sent the families fake cremains and fraudulent death certificates. He charged the families between $1,000 and $5,000 for the services he provided. Of course, no discussion regarding abuses of this type would be complete without mentioning the 2002 case from Lafayette, Georgia. In that case, which made headlines around the world, 339 bodies were discovered in various states of decay, scattered in buildings and other places in and around the property of Tri-State Crematory. 226 remains were able to be identified using DNA testing. Families had been given concrete dust instead of the cremains of their loved ones. Brent Marsh served 12 years in prison before being released in 2016.
And as he opened up the buildings, that's when we found our most gruesome discovery, when we found numerous bodies stacked in these buildings.
The business of death is profitable. Because it is profitable and because it makes so many of us uncomfortable, there are criminals waiting to take advantage. To reduce the chances of you or a loved one being taken advantage of, you should familiarize yourself with the Federal Trade Commission's funeral rule. You can go to their website and learn what federal protections and requirements exist. When we're doing research for this show on the cremation remains and the fraud in the insurance and the death industry, it was really despicable. And a lot of the researchers and I were talking and thinking back to that 2002. So many of us remember it as a sentinel moment. It really woke up a lot of people in the country and changed a lot of laws. Those type of things, us being involved, that's what matters, and that's what brings these people to account. There needs to be more investigation. There needs to be more involvement. There are few people more vulnerable in this country than the grieving, and I find it personally despicable that somebody would take advantage of them for profit, especially the meager amounts of money that we're talking, that you have bodies packed so high that it is not safe for officers to walk through a room. Truly despicable story, and I hope that you take some facts away from this one.